This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Good afternoon, everyone. Fasten your seatbelts. We're going to make a very bold statement this afternoon. And that is the entire Torah that we have today. The whole Torah that we are in possession of today is all because of one person. And not only that, we're going to take it further. The whole Torah that we have today is due to one person who is not even a Talmid Chacham. And even more surprising, the Torah that we have today is because of one person who never even went to yeshiva. And this person that we are crediting the entire existence of our Torah was not even a man. The Torah that we have today is because of one woman. Let's see exactly who we're speaking about. There was once an ordinary man named Akiva. Akiva was advanced in life. He was still an ignoramus. He was still an Amoritz, a simple shepherd, and I think we all know who we're speaking about. One day, while pasturing the sheep of his master, Kabbalas, who was a very wealthy person, this Akiva was noticed by his master's daughter. This young woman sees Akiva and she thinks to herself, this Akiva is different than the other shepherds. There's something extraordinary about him. She sees his countenance. It's illuminated by an exceptional intelligence, an exceptional nobility of soul. What a pity, she thinks to herself, that such great dormant talents remain buried forever in an ordinary ignorant shepherd. She sees that Akiva has sterling character. He's a diamond in the rough, and she begins to speak to him, and she urges him to develop himself, to develop a career in learning Torah. Now in those days, to be learned in Torah was considered a mark of aristocracy. And Amoritz and ignoramus was consumed with envy and hatred toward Talmidei Chachamim. In fact, Akiva hated Talmidei Chachamim so much that he once remarked, "Give me one of those sages and I'll bite him like a donkey." And here this woman is urging him to join their ranks and to study Torah. Finally she says to him, "If you go to the yeshiva, I will marry you." She consented to marry him on condition that he goes away to learn for 12 years in the yeshiva. Her father, Kabbalas, one of the wealthiest, most powerful, prestigious people in the entire Jewish world, is so disappointed in his daughter, he literally disowned her and vowed never to give her a penny. Akiva goes away to the yeshiva, and for 12 years, this idealistic woman remained in poverty and loneliness while he studied Torah. At the end of the 12 years, before he even has a chance to say hello to his wife, he overhears a conversation between her and an old neighbor. And the old man says to her, "How long are you going to be so foolish? He forsook you for 12 years. How long can you continue on like this?" And she responded, "If he would listen to me, he would go back for another 12 years. Whereupon Rabbi Akiva heard the remark of his wife. He tippy-toes away, and he goes back to the yeshiva for another 12 years. Rabbi Akiva returns a second time. He's accompanied by 24,000 students. An army of Torah. I learned in Yeshiva Chafetz Chaim, 400 Talmidim. Imagine Rabbi Akiva has 60 times that amount. And they're all accompanying their Rebbe. And as Rabbi Akiva is entering the city, she comes out. Rachel, the wife of Rabbi Akiva, comes out to greet her now illustrious husband. The students have no idea who she is. They want to push her away. She comes running to Rabbi Akiva, and Rabbi Akiva says, "No, Shali v'shalachem shalah. All of my Torah, all of your Torah, shalah. It's all because of her." Soon afterward, in the war of Beitar, the Jewish nation was decimated, was almost completely destroyed. Gemara tells us, we're all familiar, 24,000 Talmidim Rabbi Akiva, they all pass away. They didn't show each other the proper respect. After this tragic episode, Rabbi Akiva goes to the south of Eretz Yisrael. He goes to Beitar, where he teaches 5 Talmidim, Reb Meir Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Elazar, and the Torah that we have today comes from only these 5 Talmidim. And therefore, we can say in all truth and in all honesty and with all certainty that all the Torah that we have today is because of Rachel, the wife of Rabbi Akiva. If not for her, there never would have been a Rabbi Akiva. And there never would have been those 5 Talmidim, and we would have no Torah left today. Baruch Hashem, I have the great fortune, the great zchus, to have the opportunity to give Shiurim to people really of all ages. Young boys in yeshiva, young married men, middle-aged men, seniors, and I'll tell you what I find in my modest experience. That quite often, the efforts that a boy will make in yeshiva, that a man will make to come to Shiurim, that a man will make in his learning, or to come to minyan, so often we see that it's due to the encouragement of a mother, a wife, who gives the chizuk, who gives the assistance, who allows their husband, their child to come and learn. How distressing it is when you ask somebody, where were you at the Shir last night? I had a babysit. It's very nice, you had a babysit, you have to help your wife. But how distressing it is when there's not a realization of what a woman, what a wife has to do to encourage their husband, to encourage their son, to be involved in learning. And even though not in every case, sometimes you have men, they're self-motivated, they're interested on their own. But when you have a wife who's supportive, who's encouraging, you could see the Rebbe sees the difference immediately. About a year ago, August time, it was a Wednesday night, August 1st, 2013. Thousands and thousands of Jews attended the Siyum HaShas, either personally or via satellite hookup. To say that 100,000 Jews participated in the Siyum HaShas is not an exaggeration. For what? Siyum HaShas Daf Yomi. 7-year cycle, a page a day. Where did this idea start? Where did it come from? Did it start in Bavel? With the redactors of Talmud Bavli? Did it start in the times of Rashi? Who came up with this idea? I mean, in the scope of Jewish history, Daf Yomi is an infant of an idea. It was proposed by a man who lived in the 20th century, Rav Meir Shapiro. One man had an idea of let's get everyone together learning the same Daf Gemara every single day. Look what one man did. Look what one man accomplished. Do you know how many thousands and thousands and thousands of Blat Gemara were learned because one man's idea became a reality? You know what kind of zchusim Rav Meir Shapiro has? A man who lived in our times. People still remember him. But it wasn't just Rav Meir Shapiro. It goes a lot further than that. You know the story of who gave Rav Meir Shapiro the idea of Daf Yomi? When Meir Shapiro was 9 years old, his parents hired a malamed, a teacher, to come and learn with Meir. There was some kind of miscommunication, and on the day after Pesach, when the Rebbe was supposed to show up, he didn't show. He thought he was supposed to come the next day. So for one day, Meir Shapiro did not learn. That night, he sees his mother crying. He says, Mama, for was weinst du? Mama, why are you crying? And she says to him, Meir, you wasted an entire day from learning. Versteht nicht, was meant a Tag lernen. You don't understand what a day of learning is. Rav Meir Shapiro was the father of the Daf Yomi. But his mother was the mother of the Daf Yomi. And from one comment that one mother made to one boy, thousands and thousands and thousands of Blat Gemara have been learned. Rachel created Rabbi Akiva. The mother of Meir Shapiro, she made the Daf Yomi. They're the builders of Klal Yisrael. They shape the history of our people forever. That is why, says Rav Moshe Feinstein, in the newest volume of the Igros Moshe Chilek Tes, that when Moshe Rabbeinu tells Klal Yisrael to prepare themselves to be Makabel the Torah, he says, Koisoymar lebeis Yaakov b'saged levnei Yisrael. First go tell the women, and once they're on board, then you tell the men. Why would you tell the women first? What, they're going to become Rosh Yeshiva? They're going to be learning in Kollel? The answer is because it starts with them. If they're not on board, you could forget it. The women are the key, they're the foundation, they're the builders of Klal Yisrael. 20 years ago, when Rabbi Vadia Yosef's wife passed away, so one of the Maspidim here in America, one of the Rabbanim told over the following story about how Rabbi Vadia's shidduch was made. See, when Rabbi Vadia, when Chacham Vadia was a young man, he was a very handsome young man. You look at the photographs of Rabbi Vadia, he had a very handsome appearance. And one day a Talmid Chacham comes to the yeshiva and he tells the Rosh Yeshiva, listen, I have a very special daughter. She wants to marry a Talmid Chacham. Give me your best. And the Rosh Yeshiva said, you want my best? Ovadia Yosef, he's head and shoulders ahead of everybody else. Make sure tomorrow night your daughter dresses up, puts on her makeup. I will make sure that Ovadia Yosef shows up. So, young man, Ovadia Yosef, he comes to the home, he knocks on the door. The father of the girl was a Talmid Chacham also. He starts talking to him and learning. And this young boy is such a pleasant conversationalist. They're talking for 3 hours. It's already, father looks at the watch, it's already 11 o'clock at night. He says, Oy vey, it's 11 o'clock at night and you didn't see the girl yet? Meanwhile, she's busy waiting in the next room. She had gotten dressed, all dressed for the occasion. Father says, look, I'm sorry, you didn't get a chance to go out, but 11 o'clock at night, it's really too late to go on a walk. Please be Michael, please come back tomorrow night. You'll take out my daughter tomorrow night. Right now, it's too late. So, father goes into the daughter, he apologizes to the daughter. He said, I'm so sorry, he was such a pleasant conversationalist that we got caught up and time went by. Tomorrow night you go out. And the girl was very insulted. Didn't he know I'm all waiting for him in the next room? I'm all dressed up waiting for him? Didn't he know? Doesn't he have the decency? Father said, it's my fault. I got caught up with him. She didn't want to go out the next night. Father insisted. He's such a big Talmid Chacham. Give him another chance. The girl says, look, you want me to go out? On condition that you don't speak to him for more than a half hour. Father said, no problem. We'll just talk very briefly. So the next night, Ovadia Yosef knocks on the door. And weiter, the same thing. Talking. And before he knows it, he looks at his watch. He couldn't believe it. It's already 11 o'clock at night. Again, same thing happens. He tells Ovadia Yosef, it's already too late to go out. It's too late to go on a walk. Do me a favor, come back tomorrow night. He tells the daughter. The daughter says, no, I'm not looking at the guy. I will not go out with this guy. The same thing happened last night. You should have known from last night. Again, he keeps me waiting. The father said, no, I'm sorry. It's my fault. I got caught up. We started talking and learning. We got caught up in a sugya. So listen, I'm only going out with him if you don't say a word to him. You put out some cake, you put out some tea, and that's it. His father says, fine. Sure enough, next night, he comes, he knocks on the door, puts out the cake, puts out the tea, and the Rabbi Yosef, he makes a bracha achroina. The father doesn't make a bracha achroina. He turns to the father, he said, why didn't you make a bracha achroina? He said, I didn't need a b'chtei achilas pas. Rabbi asked him a question, back and forth, talking, and before they know it, it's 11 o'clock at night. And this is what they said at the Rabbi's wife's hesped 20 years ago. He said, look, you can't go on a walk 11 o'clock at night. Please come back tomorrow night. He goes into the daughter. He says, look, it's not his fault, it's my fault. The daughter said, I'm not going out with him. Goodbye. Fartig, finished. If he's not enough of a man, she talks all night long. I don't want to look at him. No way, I'm not going out b'shem oifen. So the next night, she doesn't get dressed up. She doesn't put on her makeup. She's wearing her regular clothing. Again, the next night, Ovadia Yosef comes back to the house, and he wants to take out. And the father says, I'm sorry. I really apologize. I won more than you. B'shum oifen, she will not look at you. She doesn't want to. She says, this young man said, do me a favor. Let me speak to her for a few minutes. He said, no. It's not going to help. Nothing is going to help. That's a lost cause. So Ovadia Yosef says, do you have a private room that I could speak to just for 3 minutes? Father gives him a private room. And there the girl's sitting there. Didn't get dressed up. No jewelry. No makeup. 3 minutes later, they come out. Mazel tov! They drink a l'chaim. They got engaged. So the father turns to Ovadia Yosef. He said, what did you say to the girl that you convinced her? And I'll tell you, when I heard this story, tears came to my eyes. So he said, Ovadia Yosef says to the father, I told the girl, if you give me olam hazeh, I will give you a big chelek of olam haba. This is what marriage is. Marriage in its ideal form is not romance. Romance is not real. Doesn't exist. It's an invention. It's a figment of the corrupt imagination of the secular media. Marriage is about sacrifice for the bottom line. And what's the bottom line? The bottom line is olam haba. And when both spouses have their eye on olam haba, that's what makes for a very successful marriage. In light of what we've just learned, and what we've just discussed, we can understand a very difficult topic that now becomes crystal clear. You see, Shlomo HaMelech composed thousands of songs. But by far his most important song was Shir Hashirim, the song of all songs. And as important as Shir Hashirim is, it almost did not make it. The Mishnah Masechta Yadayim in Paragimel Mishnah Hey records that Shir Hashirim does not have the same degree of Kedusha as the other books of Tanakh. That Shir Hashirim was on a lower level of Kedusha than the rest of Tanakh and should not be included in the Tanakh. Whereupon, says the Mishnah, Rabbi Akiva stood up and exclaimed, Chas v'shalom, heaven forbid, Lo nechlak adam Yisrael al Shir Hashirim. There is no authentic opinion that challenges the value of Shir Hashirim. She'ein kol ha'olam kulai kedai kiyom shanitem b'Shir Hashirim. The entire universe is unworthy of the great day that Shir Hashirim was given. Why? Shekol Hashirim kodesh, v'Shir Hashirim kodesh kadashim. All the songs of the Torah are holy, but Shir Hashirim is the holiest of all. What a polarized argument. On the one hand, we have opinions that Shir Hashirim is not as holy as the other books. And on the other extreme, Rabbi Akiva holds that not only is Shir Hashirim part of the Tanakh, it's the holiest of all 24 books. How do we account for such a big machlokes? And why was it that of all the Tanoim, it was Rabbi Akiva, who, by the way, we follow his view, we paskin like him. Of all the Tanoim, Rabbi Akiva was the only one to teach the world about the greatness of Shir Hashirim. In order to answer this question, we have to understand what is Shir Hashirim all about. Shir Hashirim is a song in the form of a drama, and the two main characters and the two main personalities are a young woman and her beloved, a chasan and a kala. The young woman, the kala, is Klal Yisrael, the Jewish people, and her beloved, the chasan, is none other than the Ribono Shel Olam himself. And Shir Hashirim is actually a love song describing the great love that the Ribono Shel Olam has for Klal Yisrael and the passionate love that we have for Hashem. And this love is couched, is cloaked in the allegory of the love between a young man and a young woman. The love between a chasan and a kala. And indeed, a sefer that describes the ahava between the Ribono Shel Olam and Klal Yisrael is quite a holy book. However, it was the opinion of many that although the love between Ribono Shel Olam and Klal Yisrael is such a holy concept, nevertheless the mashal, the parable, that this idea is couched in, the analogy that it is described in, it's analogous to the love between a husband and wife. And the love between a husband and wife is a physical relationship. It's an earthly relationship. And in a way it downgrades and it secularizes the lofty concept of the love between the Rebbeinu Shem Klal Yisrael. Yes, Avas Hashem is Davar Kadosh. But to have it in a mashal of the Ava Bein Ish L'Isha, that downgrades it. That secularizes it. Comes Rabbi Akiva. And Rabbi Akiva has an entirely different opinion. Because Rabbi Akiva understood that the love between a husband and wife is not a physical, earthly relationship. The love of a husband and wife in its ideal form can serve as a model and an inspiration for some of the highest accomplishments in life. Because Rabbi Akiva experienced it himself. What true Ava Bein Ish L'Isha could produce? It produces 24,000 Talmidim. It produces Torah for Klal Yisrael. So it was only Rabbi Akiva of all the Tanoim who understood that the love Bein Ish L'Isha is not one that is an appropriate way to describe the love between Hashem and Klal Yisrael. Adarabah, it's the idealistic love between husband and wife that can serve as a parable and a mashal between the love of the Rebbeinu Shalom and Klal Yisrael. And that is why it was Rabbi Akiva who exclaimed for all time, Kol Hashirim Kodesh, Shir Hashirim Kodesh Kadashim. Now on a practical level, it is very difficult for many women. Many women, especially women who during their high school years, during their seminary years, worked on themselves, are connected to tefillah, connected to avodas Hashem. And for a woman, her tefillah is different than for a man. A man catches a minyan, chaps a tefillah. For a woman, tefillah could be a very elevating experience. They connect. They deepen their awareness of Hashem. It's an avodah shebelev. And Baruch Hashem, when a child comes along, and a woman is no longer able to go to shul on Shabbos, no longer able to go to Shiurim, it could sometimes be emotionally very, very difficult. How much more so during the Yamim Noraim, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. What kind of Rosh Hashanah is it? What kind of Yom Kippur is it? You stay home with the kid. The baby doesn't know it's Rosh Hashanah. The baby doesn't know it's Yom Kippur. He carries on like any other weekday. He doesn't know what the day is all about. And then it comes on a Yom Kippur, and the husband abandons his wife to the mercy of the child, and the man is sitting in the shul all day long. He's davening, he's wrapped in his talis, he's wrapped in his kittel, and the mother's at home. She has her machzor, but often she doesn't get to the machzor. She wants to daven the whole davening. She wants to beg the Rebbeinu Shalom for the welfare of her children. And she can't, because she's busy reading Sesame Street books. He's wrapped in his talis all day, and she's reading Cookie Monster. Is that Yom Kippur? Sesame Street? Changing diapers? Is that Yom Kippur? It's a big nisayon. It's a big challenge. I once heard a very important idea from Rabbi Yisrael Reisman Shlita, and I heard this from him many, many times. That really this is not the right way to look at it. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants the man to go to shul, to have kavana for all the beautiful tefillahs, to think about the meaning of the words, to cry, to daven with intensity, to daven with kavana. Who really knows if a man will be able to do what the Rebbeinu Shalom wants from him? But she? What does the Rebbeinu Shalom want from her? The Rebbeinu Shalom wants her to take care of her child. That's what Rebbeinu Shalom wants the mother to do on Yom Kippur. She's not home against the will of Hashem. The will of the Borei Olam is that she should take care of the child. And I have a very strong feeling that she's going to do a better job of what the Rebbeinu Shalom wants her to do than the man will do in shul of what the Rebbeinu Shalom wants from him. And this is a very big chizuk, and it's the truth. This is the meaning of the Gemara in Brachos. Gedola ha'havtacha shenemar liisha yoser me'anemar leish. greater is the promise given to a woman than the promise given to a man. And the Rishonim explain it to mean that a woman is more likely to get Olam Haba even more than a man. Because a woman's nature, her heart lends itself to be more involved and to care more for her tafkid and her role in the world of having this chus to bring up another generation. We live in very challenging times where the soft feminine touch of a mother is challenged by the world. It's being undermined. The world screams out, motherhood is weakness. The soft motherly touch is a sign of weakness. The world wants to empower women. The world wants to empower women. And the Orthodox world is being accused of looking down at women. We're holding them back. We're holding them back in the dark ages. And you even hear from some so-called Orthodox people the call for equal rights in terms of frumkeit. Why can't women put on tefillin? Why can't they have their own minyanim? And of course in our circles we don't even pay attention to such things. But deep down we struggle to put into proper perspective for ourselves from a Torah viewpoint. What is it? Does a woman strive for equality? But you have to know with complete conviction that what the world is crying out, the truth is the exact opposite. The secular world is not looking to liberate women. It's looking to undermine women. They're looking to shackle women. The desire for equality is the most demeaning insult to the dignity of a woman. You know why? Because the secular world does not value in the slightest the most significant achievement in this world. They undermine the most noble, sanctified institution that exists in Olam Hazeh. And therefore, by stripping a woman of this institution, women are left reeling, looking for their identity. The secular world is out to completely undermine motherhood, destroy the value of motherhood. And by doing so, they've destroyed the self-esteem, the identity of a woman, leaving women searching for themselves, searching for their identity, and seeking equality. But in the Torah world, the Torah takes a woman and elevates her to the highest pedestal. The Rebbeinu Shalom says, "Koisoimer lebeis Yaakov, besagid lebnei Yisrael." That you want to teach Torah, first you have to let the women know, and only then the men, because it's the women who create Klal Yisrael. They raise Klal Yisrael. They nurture Klal Yisrael. Gedola ha'avtacha shenemra lenashim yoser mehanemra leish. Rachel created her husband, Rabbi Akiva. Meir Shapiro's wife, mother, created the Daf Yomi. Chazal say, the Gemara Kedushin says, Shlosh Shofim yesh ba'adam. There are three partners in the creation of a person: HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Aviv, V'imai. The Rebbeinu Shalom, a father and a mother. The father gives the loiven, the white. The mother gives the oidem, the red, and the Rebbeinu Shalom gives the neshama. What does this mean? This means that a father gives the white, the technical abilities, but the mother gives the red, the heart, the emotion. The mother gives the child his identity. To the mother, the child is the center of the universe, the center of the entire world. You ever see the difference between how a father shampoos his kid's hair and how a mother shampoos his kid's hair? What does the father do? Father takes the shampoo, he squirts it all over the head. Now how you can get the shampoo out of the head? So you take a bucket of water, you plop it down on the head, and all the shampoo is gone, right? It works every time. And if the kid cries, getting in his eyes, you tell him, look at the bottle. It says it's tear-free, right? But the kid doesn't read. Kid doesn't know that. How does the mother shampoo the hair? The answer is the mother gently leans the kid's head back, washes out the hair, sings to the kid, soothes the child. Because to the mother, now the father's smart enough to do it in a way where the kid asks next time he wants the mother to do it and not the father. But this is the way of the woman. Because even though every child means the world to their father, to the mother was given the ability to make the child feel like they are the center of the universe. Now when the child grows up and goes out into the world, he'll realize he's not the center of the universe. For some people it takes a little longer than others. But in the mother's eyes, in the mother's home, the child is always made to feel that he's the center of the world. It's the mother that makes the child. Even an adult, when an adult cries out, the adult will never cry out, Tati, Daddy. Even an adult cries out, Mommy. Because in the eyes of the mother, the child is the center of the universe. What does David HaMelech say? David HaMelech says, Ani Avdecha, you know who I am? Ben Amosecha. I am the son of your handmaid. I'm my mother's son. Why is David saying he's his mother's son? Isn't he the son of Yishai, one of the greatest tzaddikim who ever lived, someone who never did an avera? Why Ani Avdecha Ben Amosecha? Says the Arizal tells us a frightening story, an amazing story. Then when David HaMelech was born, his father and his brothers considered him a mamzer. A mamzer? See, Chazal say that Yishai was afraid that his grandmother Rus maybe was not allowed to marry Boaz. Maybe Doeg HaDoimi was right. Maybe Doeg HaDoimi was right, that maybe Rus was not allowed to marry Boaz. And Yishai feared that maybe his children were psulim. So what does he do? Yishai made up that he's going to purify his children by marrying a shivcha. He was going to separate from his wife, marry a shivcha. The children would be avadim. He would free the children, and that would purify them. That would make them ksherim. The shivcha tells Yishai's wife about his plan. They decide they're going to switch places. And unbeknownst to Yishai, he thought he was living with his shivcha. He was living with his own wife. Months later, she's pregnant. David HaMelech is born. Everyone knew, how does this lady have a child? She's separated from her husband. When David was born, they called him a mamzer. This is the meaning of the pasuk in Tehillim. Muzar hayisi le'achai. So they throw David into the garbage heaps. They threw him to the dogs. They held he was illegitimate. But says the Medrash, it's brought down in the Sefer HaTorah, that as David HaMelech's mother held him in her arms, and she rocked him, she would whisper into his ear, Tahar ata b'ni, you are pure, my son. Kadosh meirechem, you are holy from the womb. You're going to be great one day. You're going to be great. You could do it. Tahar ata. She gave him the confidence. She imbued him with the security that he is going to have a bright future. We all need that mother who whispers in our ears, Tahar ata b'ni, Kadosh merechem, that you're going to be great. You're going to make it. You could do it. I know somebody today who's a very big asken, very successful, is very involved in communal affairs, but as a kid, he was the worst student, terrible student. And till today, he credits his mother for his success. He would say over that his mother would constantly tell him, school? You're not good in school? School is not for you? You're going to be great out of school. You're going to be great out of school. You're going to be great out of school. And she knocked it into his head until he believed it. This is what David HaMelech says. Ani avdecha ben amasecha. I'm my mother's son. And if you look in Sefer Malachim, all the kings of Malchus Beis David are nisyaches, are traced after their mother. And the reason is because the Malchus Beis David recognized it was the primary influence in their lives came from their mother, who would tell them, Tahar ata, Kadosh ata merechem. Chazal tell us that the Malchus Beis David had a very unique custom. That in the kingdom of Beis David, the king would set aside a throne next to the throne of the king for Eim HaMalchus, for the mother of the king. Because they wanted to teach the world, it was the Eim HaMalchus. It's the mother who gives the courage and the confidence to the king to be able to make something out of himself. That's what David HaMelech says, Ani avdecha ben amasecha. And it is our obligation to set aside in our own homes, in our own lives, in our own hearts and mind, that special figurative throne for Ima Shamalchus, for the mother who made us, who continues to give us the courage to accomplish what we need to in life. And as we approach the Yom Tov of Shavuos, let us remember that the cornerstone of our Torah, the pillar of our Torah, is Kaisoimer Lebeis Yaakov, the value of motherhood, the esteem of motherhood, the pedestal of motherhood. And only then, V'sagei Levnei Yisrael, may the Rebbeinu Shalom give you all the Kayach, the Chachma, the Siyata D'Shmaya, to bring up a dar, children, that bring you tremendous nachas to Klal Yisrael, nachas to Rebbeinu Shalom, B'yasgal Tzedek, Meher B'yameinu, Amen.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.